Well, we just had our first one. You guys got the snow day off. JoJo Siwa. I'm getting my religious knot. I want to get some of it before I turn 18.
Honestly, about you.
I'm missing a lot of knots. Georgia from Durango.
Okay, stand up.
Stand up.
Okay.
There we do.
Wait, we're using the shirt.
No, hold on. That's
Oh my
No.
goodness. All
Aren't you
right.
walking with the American flag in this since now? Oops.
Scout's attention.
Yeah.
Scout salute, your hand over your heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2. Please join me in the Scout sign. Please join me in the Scout oath. On my honor,
I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
law. A
Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
All right, everybody put their name.
Okay. So we have, I don't know your name,
David Words.
David Woods, here today to talk about Summit Awards and advancement.
Yes. Take one of these, pretend you're having fun. Ask lots of questions. Sometimes I might even have answers that make sense. Give you a little bit who I am. I have been serving on the Iron Horse and before that Red Tail Hawk Advancement Committee for 5, 6, 7, 8, a lot of years, let's just put it that way. And have been a guest Eagle chairman for Eagle boards. So if you're familiar with those, you'll get familiar with them because the Summit Award is, a lot of the things you do in the Summit Award is very similar to how you handle an Eagle project. So I am the COR, or Charter Organizational Rep for Troop 85, the new troop serving girls, got to use the right terminology, so I did read the memo. 685, or as we just say, 85G, and Crew 2085. I was a founding member of Crew 2085. That one's been around for about 13, 14 years, probably one of the oldest in the district. I have lots of other things I've done in scouting. The biggest thing I have going on right now, I do serve on the host committee for the World Jamboree. So I actually I'm not part of the American contingent. I work directly for WASM, or the World Organization for Scouting Movement. So I have a black box. What I've come to the conclusion is that if you know what the red shirts from Star Trek do, they die. That's what the black box is. We've come to that conclusion. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. Feel free to ask questions. I put this together hoping this kind of keeps me on track more than anything else. But I also see there's a lot of things that changed in the venturing in the last 3-4 years. I can't remember when they made the change. But you venture awards, venturing, discovery, Pathfinder, and Summit. You can see, most of it is around leadership and personal growth and service. That's what the recognition program is for the venturing program. It's not an advancement program, it's a recognition program. Don't ask them what the difference is. Somebody made that decision a long time ago. I see, did you get your silver award? Or no, that's VLA patch, VLA.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I get the confused. It looks very similar to the silver award. Anyway, but that's really, you see that, is as you get into the Summit Award, you're doing a lot of mentoring, helping with the leadership development of your crews, DOAs, whether they're district, council, or even at area and region type of thing. And, goal setting, personal growth, really just, pretty much what you would expect an Eagle Scout to do, is help others, right? So, I'm going to run through the requirements for the other awards, just so I'm sure that you all have these all memorized and going like, would you just shut up type thing. Venturing is like the scout badge in Boy Scouts or Scouts BSA. It's basically you're joining, you're being able to do law, take the personal awareness video, and you have a personal interview with your crew president and your advisor. That takes many forms. Wish they had more around that, but that's really about it. Discovery, which would be equivalent to first class. Those who just got into OA, that's why they use first or Discovery. It's kind of first class. You kind of got into that first class in Scouts, and you get to do all the fun things like complete ILSC, the time management class, the goal management, which are just exciting to know in because I have taught them. Do some personal reflection, board review. You get to do a board review, get to participate in a board review with your crew. And we'll talk a little bit how that's different when we get to the Summit Award. I probably mistitled something, didn't I? That one should be Pathfinder. Yeah, I paid big bucks for the presentation, folks. Really, the biggest difference I saw between Discovery and Pathfinder is the more expectation, you get more activities. You have to help define what a Tier 2 and a Tier 3 is for your unit. Tier 3 basically is anything over 72 hours, like summer camp, NYLT if your unit's big on NYLT. There's a drama crew, Judy Tuckness, everybody know, people know who Judy Tuckness is, director of Bear Camp. They have a drama crew, and their Tier 3 could be going to Broadway. I can see her doing something like that, going to Broadway. So they don't define that it's this many days, it's more of an extended period of time. So you get that. And then we move down to the, if I go the right direction, helps. The Summit Award. And this is where we're going to spend our time and really talk about the packet more than anything. But I'm pretty sure you'll figure out that you have to do some additional campouts or activities of some type. Complete the mentoring training, and I have not taught that one, so I don't know who has taught it. He's taking it. I bet it's just exciting. If it's like the other
It's a thrill ride.
yeah, I bet it is. And then serve as a crew officer, but you can also be an officer. This is where it varies compared to when you try to compare it to the Eagle. You can also serve as an officer at district level, council level, area, region, or national, and still qualify for the summit for getting your time in leadership. You've got to do some personal growth there, and you get to do a service project, or as I like to call it, a really interesting way of renaming the Eagle Project. The thing that people need to remember is that if you've done your Eagle Project, it cannot multi into your Summit Award. And the same thing if you've done the Girl Scout Gold Award, can't do it. Or if you're in the Sea Scout and you're doing a Quartermaster Award, all those service projects have to be separate from everything else. There's no double dipping when it comes to this type of thing. And then you get to do a advisors conference, and then do a board review, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. The highest award in venturing, this is the direct quote from Boy Scouts of America. And it's adventurers who have matured in their personal direction, skill, and life competencies, and who have accepted responsibility to mentor others and serve their communities in a lasting way. They spent probably 3 days coming up with that, folks. But basically, it's you're making life better for others, making a better place to live. The Summit Award, boy, you get an application. If you've seen the Eagle application, it's very similar. But this gets filled out once you're done your project, once you've done your advisors conference, all this gets filled out just before your board review. And we'll talk about the process of turning it in. But the big thing to look here is that, as I remember, and it comes up so well on the screen here, but watch your dates here and make sure that you've got the right amount of time and they don't overlap. They do check it against ScoutNet, which is the database of all your advancements or recognitions. And so they do have to line up. And if this does get sent to national, what happens is that our Scout executive signs off on it after he gets the approval from everybody, and it gets mailed off, and then you get an actual certificate back from national, like you got as an Eagle or as Girl Scout Gold Award does, type of thing. So, but just beware of the dates. That's the thing that I haven't seen it happen on the summit yet, but we haven't had that many summit awards come through. But I've seen it many times on an Eagle application. So just be aware of that piece of it. The proposal book. You've got a copy of it here in front of you. We're going to walk through this a little bit. When you look for something to do as your summit award, find something that you're passionate about. Because if you're passionate about it, it'll be a whole lot easier to complete it. Whether it's building bunk beds at Mission Southside. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mission Southside. They're about 168th and Ridgeview. I'm working with a young man on his Eagle project and building bunk beds. Or is it building something at your church, building a playground, whatever it is, something that's tangible that is not maintenance. That's the whole thing is. If your church came in and said, we want you to paint 5 rooms, and it's just basically painting 5 rooms, that's really not an Eagle or a summit project. So keep it in mind, it's something that's lasting and that's just not a maintenance type item. So what you do is you fill this out, and you'll have your candidate information, your crew advisor, the project approval representative, which is somebody from our district, and I'll show you that here in a second, and then the project beneficiary. Before you bring the project proposal to the district, you have to have the project beneficiary sign signature on it. So if it's the pastor of your church who's going to take care of it, they sign. There's a place for them to sign and says, yes, we want you to do this type of thing, and we're all in agreement on what the project is, what the scope of the project is. And then it goes in, and I'm going to grab one of these here because I was hoping it'd show up better since I haven't. It kind of gives you some general information on what it is that you've got to do. The proposal gets approved by the district. And so this first 3 or 4 pages this is a PDF that you can download from venturing.org. And basically you go in at the very bottom, it says project description over here on the left-hand side. Why you got your project and why did you choose it. Tell us a little bit about it and why did you choose it. And then you go into the next part, which is explain why is it valuable or significant impact. Now, there are many ways to look at this as far as when you look at this thing. It can be bunk beds at Mission Southside, but don't think this small. There's a young man for his Eagle project, we use the same Eagle worksheet to I don't want to call it grade, but evaluate the projects on, who did a project for the Sheriff's Department in Memorial out by the jail. It was a several $1,000 project to put together. So, don't think small, think big, and you can always bring it in. So you go through and you start filling it out. What's the service address, scope and complexity. The piece of advice I would give for this when you're looking at this and start filling this out, go download the Eagle application. The Eagle application, I think gives you a little bit more direction and help you fill out this form a little bit easier. That's just my opinion. I'm not a big fan. To me, what they could have done is taken the Eagle application, done a search and replace, instead of the Eagle, said Summit, and probably done as good or better job than what this is. But you fill all this out, you get down to the approvals, which is on page E, and that you've got yours, you've got the signature of the organization, your crew advisors, and then the district venturing representative. And so that's where I come in, or somebody who like I have. I will send this presentation to Jane, and Jay, you can pass it off to the rest of them. I'll change that one slide so it does say Pathfinder versus Discovery. But this is a checkoff list that we use for projects. There's nothing that says you have to put this project into a 3-ring binder with sheet protectors. Okay? That's a nice to have thing, folks. The reason you want that is that in 30 years when your kid is in venturing, you can go, well, look what I did back, when they first came out with this. And the reason I say that is I'm an Eagle Scout, and my project got lost in a flood. So I can't show, when my son was working on his Eagle project, couldn't show him what I had to do. Jeez, all these adults here. Boy, they multiplying. Anyway, so this checkoff list is in there. It kind of goes through some of this, but really, if you fill out your proposal, that is technically all you have to do. Okay, is fill out the proposal. Now, I'm going to tell you, your board of review will go a whole lot better if you fill out the back half of this, which is the project summary report. Your board review will go a whole lot easier if you fill out the project review thing. Because that means that an old guy like me can look at this and go, oh, that's what they did. Okay, I understand what they did. And I don't have to spend 30 or 40 minutes just asking you questions about your project that you didn't want to answer anyway because you're nervous anyway for being there. So, but that is, you get your signature on the proposal, you are good, you're golden. You have to the age of 21 to finish your summit award. So, you're working on yours, I hear?
Yeah.
How old are you?
17.
17. You'll be 18 just before Jamboree, aren't you?
Well, we got this sucker before then.
But you have to, unlike an Eagle Project or a Girl Scout Gold Award, you have to your age 21. But this checkoff list, the only thing I would do different is if we would start doing more summit awards, I would change the verbiage from Eagle to Summit. But we've only had one district summit award go through the district at this point. And so it's not worth the pain and agony it takes to change that PDF. The other thing that usually comes in is how are you going to raise money? What I would tell you is if you are doing it for the church, let the church raise the money. It is a whole lot easier because if you're asking for money, then you have to fill out this fundraising application and then get it approved by the advancement committee. What we normally tell scouts when they're working on their Eagle projects is let the church or the organization raise the money for you, type of thing. If you're going out, you can ask for donations. Well, when you're actually raising money, there are all kinds of rules we have to follow from a Boy Scout perspective because you're really raising money for Mission Southside or Prince of Peace or Indian Creek or Community Church. That's who you're raising the money for. You're not raising it for Boy Scouts. So there's all kinds of rules and regulations. So you can be involved in the fundraising, but let the money flow through the organization. It'll make your life easier. It's up to you. It's a choice you make, folks. I'm just telling you what works. So you're all done with the project. You got the service report. I cannot require you to do this. Okay? I cannot require you to fill this out. However, like I said earlier, your board review will go a whole lot easier if you fill out that. The one piece that I see that's missing out of this is in the middle of the Eagle packet, they have what they call the project plan. Okay? There's 3 parts of the Eagle packet. That's why I say download it and look at it for ideas. They have a whole thing about how to do the project planning. I think the assumption is because you took a project planning course back in Pathfinders, I remember, that you're going to remember all of those principles and you're going to apply them for your seminar work. That is the concept behind it. What I would recommend is look at that middle piece of the Eagle form and at least use it as your cheat sheet on how to make sure that you get the right number of people and those type of things. That's the one piece I wish they put in here that they didn't, but it makes, from that standpoint, makes things a lot better for you. And from a planning standpoint, that's just my opinion. I'm not telling you how to do it, I'm just giving you ideas of how to make the system work for you. You fill this out, and you filled out everything along the way. You've had your advisors conference. You bring your project book, your venturing application form, and the third Thursday of the month is the Eagle turn-in thing, or Eagle turn-in meeting. It's the same time that you guys would do that. If it doesn't work for you, just let us know, type of thing. I'll make sure that they have, Jay, I'll make sure you guys get my information. Because I am the guru of venturing right now for the district, so we'll work with you. Venturing's, the whole summit thing's a little bit different in a ways, but a lot of ways it's similar. We have a checkoff list. You know, you don't have merit badges, but have you completed the application? Is it? I don't think you have to do lives. These are just the things we check off. And so look at that and compare it back to the venturing application. Like I said, we haven't changed this. We just use it as a guideline. But basically, you fill out the book, the application comes back in, and then we get ready for the board review.
So just to recap, so essentially you fill out the beginning of the application, the first couple of pages, which is your planning. You have to go to one of those third Thursdays to get it approved before you do your project.
It has to be approved by the district.
So you get the district to approve the project, and at that point you've already got the beneficiary who signed out saying, yes, we want this.
Yeah, all we're doing at that point is just making sure that you're set up for success. I mean, the other,
and everything else you do kind of turn in at the end.
Yeah. Let me back up. Your project does not have let's say you're, I don't know, building 15 bunk beds. That's what you decided. I'm going to use bunk beds because that's what's on my brain right now. And you only get 12 done because you ran out of supplies, time, whatever. And you feel your project's a failure. It's not a failure. It's a change. Change is good in a project. Make sure you document it. I personally, when I serve on an Eagle, I like to see what changes have happened. If it went just as you said it was going to, that tells me one or two things. Either the project was too easy, or mom and dad got involved and bailed you out. I'd rather see changes and the project not be as successful as you think it should be, because you've learned something from it. This is all about learning and how to be a leader. That's what this project's about. The outcome of the project is just the byproduct of it. So keep that in mind. And that's even true with Eagle. For the young man, well, I guess if you get Boy Scouts, you can get your Eagle now too, or Scouting BSA. But it's the same concept, in my opinion, for that. Board reviews. There is a district person, probably me. Right now, it's probably me. Just so you guys know. And two to three members of your crew, youth members who are on the board of review. Okay? This is where the verges from the Eagle process. So normally we would do the Eagle or the Summit board review that third Thursday night, just like when you turn in your packet. We also realize it may not work. Number one is it takes a little bit longer through that process. Because what happens is we have 30 minutes, about 20 to 30 minutes beforehand that I work with the youth to make sure they're prepared to ask you questions. Okay, and that's a whole process in itself. Then we review your packet, and then we bring you in, ask you questions for 20 to 30 minutes, You leave the room, we render a decision, bring you back in with you and your puppy dogs, kitty cats, mom, dad, aunts, uncles, boyfriends, girlfriends, whoever, and we tell you the decision, okay? You all, at that point, I'm very big on, you can ask a friend of the scout or a friend of the venture at this point. You can ask your advisor to be there. You can ask, associate advisor, or if it's somebody if you're active in NYLT and you want to have somebody there. You can even ask Mark Brewer, the lodge advisor. I'm hoping that you can do better than that, but
He is too.
But the friend is an adult to help you, as I say, translate my questions. That is what their job is. The most 90 to 95% of the questions will come from your youth. That's why we spend that time beforehand helping them get prepared for it, so they're ready to ask questions. Very few questions I will ask. The questions I will ask as the chair of it is things like, tell me about your project. What worked, what didn't work? I ask very few questions in a summit award. You also get to have one member of your venturing committee is on that board also. So you have an adult that represents the committee. They do not get to ask any questions. When the young lady that we had go through, I served as the representative from the crew, and it killed me not to ask questions. It killed me because I'm used to asking the questions, serving as a district chair. So that's kind of how the board review is, and it's you'll be nervous, but take a deep breath. Nobody's died from it yet. I don't plan on anybody dying when I'm there because that means that's paperwork I have to do. Because you're, under 21 and venturing, and it means you're a ute, and that's bad. You got to do ute paperwork. Adults I can bury. So I think I've gone through most of this. Yeah. Well, I want to know what your career goals. They can be, I'm going in, as far as I know right now, I'm going into the Army. That's all I know. Or it could be, I want to go to K-State and I want to get an engineering degree, or I want to be a teacher. I've seen it. It's what you want to do. It's not what I want you to do. Not what mom and dad want you to do. It's what do you want to do? And let's see here. Our biggest thing is, how have you grown since you joined venturing? You joined venturing when you were 14. My guess is you were a little squirrely. If you guess, hopefully at 16, 17, 18, even up to 21, you're less squirrely. How did you grow? How did you mature? So, those are the things that have. That is the whole process, folks. It's pretty simple. Like I said, fill out the book. I'll get this to Jay so he can pass it out there. But I have no problem being passed around. This is the Iron Horse District's methodology for handling it. We kind of set the standard for the district or for the council. Our district did have the first summit award in the council. So a lot of this was learning how to do it from scratch. So.
Do any of the youth or any of the adults have any questions?
Nothing's off limits. I'll answer it. You want to know about World Jamboree? I'll tell you what I know about World Jamboree. It's 45,000 of your closest buddies. Scouting buddies, right, Mark?
Yep.
So for the personal growth and development requirements, or should we call them requirements for the summit award?
Yeah, there's some of those. I can back over those. That to me was pretty,
because it's,
how do they word it? I'm trying to remember.
it seems a little vague. I got some paperwork for it. I just wanted to know if that was.
Let's see here. Here, I'll just read it off my screen. It'll be easier.
Lovely.
And it's all interpretation of your advisor, because your advisor is signing off on this. Explore two areas of development, or two areas. development of faith, development of self, or development of others that you have not previously discovered or explored. Participating in an ethical controversy discussion activity that includes the extension of into conflict resolution. And establish at least 2 personal goals and achieve them. It's very vague.
Yeah,
Awesome.
So me, from the reading up I've done on it and what I've looked at, it's similar to a wood batch ticket item. You decide, you set a goal, personal goal for yourself in one of those 3 areas, and then you work towards that goal and complete that. It could be something simple like I want to get more involved in my church, and I want to go to 4 more Bible study classes, or it could be I want to go help out at the homeless shelter once a week for the next
I'm going
2
to
months.
pick on you,
Okay.
and I don't even know your name. Okay. You're in the World Jamboree. Perfect one for me for that would be is to learn other cultures.
Okay.
That would be a perfect goal for service to others, is to learn about other cultures. You're going to have 133 different countries there. Majority of them do scouting different than we do. I'm telling you, when I went to Japan in an exchange program for scouts, it was really fun to see how scouts was done in Japan versus how we do it here in the States. So, I mean, I'm picking on you because I just know you're going to World Jamboree. That'd be a perfect one. Yeah, from that standpoint.
Any other questions?
Sir?
I have a question about the fundraising form.
Yeah, we can talk about that. I know your question now.
Okay.
It has to be approved before you do any fundraising. It's fill out the form, it's not hard. It's just paperwork, and if I can push it off on another organization, I'm all for it.
For teaching ILSC, could that be also leading ILSD, or is this specifically ILSC?
I think the requirement reads ILSC.
Okay.
However, this would be a question for your advisor.
All
right. I could make the case that if you're teaching ILST, it's the same curriculum as ILSC. Just every place that they use the word troop, they're using crew.
Yes.
Because there used to be a big difference, there really isn't now. So, that'd be your crew advisors, and that's what makes this a little difficult for me to give you hard fact. It's not like you need 21 merit badges, 13 of them have to be Eagle required. I mean, there's not those, the hard facts I can give you is you have to serve, and I don't remember what the requirement is, you have to serve so many months as, in leadership. That's an easy one. There's a list of things that you can be. So that's an easy one to take care of. But some of these, more of an interpretation of I could see it being interpreted different for you, because your advisor expects more out of you than somebody else in your crew. It's a very fluid type thing. So it's not like you can just say, oh, we checked that off because we did it that way. Now, I could be wrong. The advisor could do it the same for everybody, which makes it easy to grade, I guess, if you want to call it grade. Other questions, concerns? I'm here for you guys. I'd like to see the Summit Award. There's not that many of them out there.
And I can tell you Dave's here pretty much everywhere.
I'm here around town. You'll have my contact information. Give me an email. If you email me, make sure that you email another adult.
I'll make sure it ends up in our group chat.
Yeah. It's more for youth protection. If not, then I have to figure out who to send a copy, and they're going to go, why in the world am I getting this? And it usually goes to my wife, so. But yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. Can we get a round of applause?
It is what it is. It's not hard. It's not like getting a graduate degree.
All right. Back to you.
Don't look at me Mike. I'm done babbling.
Thanks, sir.
And next week? And next week?
Oh, yeah. Well, I actually, before I knew we were going to have the representative, I printed off the requirements for the venturing award. Who doesn't have a venturing award?
You have it.
Dylan.
Never mind.
It's okay.
You gonna, this one's for you, or? No, okay. So, actually, and it's not hard to get the venturing award, and you could actually, we have, the annual venturing banquet is on April 28th. I think it's at MASH. So you could actually get the venturing award before the banquet and then receive it at the banquet, which would be, it's pretty fun.
The venturing award's pretty basic.
Yeah.
You visit the crew, go do an activity with the crew, and join the crew.
Yep,
Sure,
and
I've done
there's
that.
one
I've done
training.
that.
You have to take personal safety awareness training, and
Which
you
you've
haven't
done.
got yours either.
You earned it 2 years ago, you just didn't know you earned it.
Oh,
Nobody ever gave it to you.
okay.
Oh, so it's like firemanship.
Yeah.
Well, I did it.
Yeah, so all you guys would have to do is participate in an interview with your president and advisor and repeat the scout oath and mod and law, which you got, and yeah, so yeah, it could be,
So if you're eligible for any of the ranks, you can have them awarded at the bill. Right.
yes,
So if you've gotten the venturing and
yeah,
Pathfinder,
we're trying to get a
Discovery,
ranger before then.
what's that?
Our crew's trying to get the ranger.
Really? Well, there's an award.
That's ambitious, the Ranger Award. I'm impressed to hear somebody's working on it.
Yeah, we have, what do we have left, Sid?
We have two electives.
Yeah.
And one required.
It's getting there, that's pretty impressive.
They've got it all
What?
mapped out.
Because only 4 electives you guys have now, that's impressive.
Yeah, I'm working on it. We started the group.
Oh, Ranger, it's like basically the closest thing they have to merit badges of venturing. You have just the basics you cover, and then you go and choose 4 electives out of hardcore high adventure stuff. There's like caving, equestrian.
Anybody wants one?
What are some of the other electives?
Here, do you want to give me one of those? I'll take a picture of it.
What?
Put it in the
Oh,
chat.
yeah.
Yeah, we did outdoor living this year.
Ah, still yours.
No sports. It's not like it's just a bit, it's going to hours.
Yeah, it's good, like, basically, on each elective, you have to, 1, participate, and 2, teach your crew about how to do it and not die. Fun. Oh, yeah.
Alright, so we have elections coming up, so that, I have it in April, so would we do, are we gonna meet next month or the month?
Next month.
We'll just
So
meet
yeah,
next
we'll
month, get
do
back
it.
on track?
Correct. So
Okay.
in April, we need to do our elections.
Yep.
The reason we do the elections in April is because we won't have a meeting in May.
Mhm.
And June is when the new leadership will come in. So go back to your crews, everybody here, and we're gonna go back to your crews and help them see, each crew is going to send somebody up who might be interested in a position. Whether it be president, one of the vice president positions,
Mhm.
but we do need to fill all the positions, and at the very least, we need to vote in a new president, unless you're welcome to rerun if you want.
I'm gonna rerun.
Are you?
Yeah.
Good to know. So if there's anybody else who's interested, we'll have an election. One way or another, we'll have an election.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have like people who are eager to do it this year.
But we'll definitely, it should be fun. But
Yeah.
we'll put the new group in June, and we'll keep going from there. One thing for the next year I'd like to try and do better is maybe come up with a better calendar of what we're doing, maybe a year out, and try to pick maybe once a quarter for like 4 days or something outside of it. We can
District service.
Yeah, we need to do one.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Great.
District day of service is an April. You got something there?
Alright, so, and you sent earlier in the group chat the venturing con thing, and.
So yes, does everybody know what Area 5 is? So, it's an area.
Right.
So essentially, this is, we've got, we're Iron Horse District.
Mhm.
We have our VOA. That above the ours is the Heart of America Council, and the Heart of America Council has a VOA, which is essentially all the leaders from all the VOAs in the districts. There's a lot of other district VOAs out there. And then multiple councils fall into Area 5. Area 5 is, I think, 4 or 5 states.
Minnesota.
This happened in Missouri, and that happened in Iowa.
There you go. So multiple states form Area 5, and we're all a part of Area 5. So they're doing an event out at Gardner, which is looks like a Comic-Con kind of thing, where you go up, I think you camp for the weekend, and you dress up in whatever comic thing you want to, and you're going to put on events kind of like that. It doesn't look like it'll be as big as a Fall Fun Rally, but it should be some of those type of events, I would assume. And essentially you'll get to meet some of the other adventurers from in the Area 5, which we're a part of. So if you can go, cool. I think it's $10.
Yeah.
And then you just gotta bring your own food, so not too bad. And I know most of us haven't been to Gardner. I know you have. Have you? Oh, you have. That's right.
Yeah. No, I haven't been.
Oh, you haven't?
I've been.
You've been to Gardner?
Yep.
Okay.
What's your name?
All right, well, I've never been to Gardner.
It's okay out there next summer for us, but
But it looks like it could be fun, so if anyone wants to go, I think for that, you would sign up individually or as a crew. I'll put the link in the group chat. Does everybody here have access to the group chat? Does anybody need access to the group chat?
and you can make me admin to the other.
The crew.
Okay.
All right, so now we should talk about any future event. We need like future events we want to do. Like we talked about the service day is in April.
Right, so the day of service is right around, I don't know what date we actually hit, but it's normally right around Earth Day.
Okay.
May 4th was trash day. I don't know if that's the same thing.
Then it would be the Iron Horse District Day of Service.
There's a dig day, which is
So this day is like the council day,
Saturday before Mother's Day,
Correct.
flowers.
So the district day of service is kind of where the district says, hey, we want every unit in the district to go out and do something on this day. Maybe you do something all together as a bunch of crews and go out and do something. I'll look at, I'll get the internet, but I'll look at what the district has and see what it shows. And get that out. And yeah, if we want to decide to go, I know our units before have cleaned parks, we've gotten with the city and seen what they wanted. We've cleaned out invasive tree species. Lots of things you can do, there's some basic things, but if anyone has any ideas, it'd be cool. I think everybody here is from Gardner and Edgerton, except for yourself. But it'd be cool to maybe do something in Gardner and Edgerton, and I'll do that. Is that not going on? So if anyone's got any ideas, throw it in the group chat. We don't need to be at this meeting to plan with that. Just need, hey, here's something that needs to be done, great, let's do that. It can be thrown together pretty quickly.
Okay. So yeah, is there any other future events that like anyone knows about or would like to do? Because we have the day of service in April. Then
Are you taking suggestions?
yes.
So, who there is in your deal? Section Conclave is coming up, April 12th, 13th, and 14th.
That was that thing.
Oh.
At this time, all the venturing units will have their own camping space. Camp together. Because 5,000 venturers are limited. Why should you go? Well, some of you are new. Good opportunity to see what it does, and see what we do. There will be skill trades there to show you what they do, like electricians, carpenters, plumbers, steel workers. They'll have booths. iFly will be there they'll have a booth. Scott's Iconium, you may not know about it, it's a store down at H. Bartle. He'll be up there selling beach floats and ice cream, soft serve. At Nash.
So pretty close.
So it's close. Someone you need camping weekends and nights, so it fulfills that requirement. So that's why you should go. And it's $40. Right now the sign up's free, but it's just for them to figure out how to charge us. But it'll be $40, and really that's no different
Don't collect the money in cash.
than any other campground. So
Very cool. Thank you, sir.
there's an opportunity. I did also come to see if there are any misconceptions about OA elections, or everybody understood how an OA election is, or how you are eligible to be elected.
I think everybody in this room, almost everybody in this room is alive. She just went through.
So if there are any adult leaders that need to be trained up, I would be happy to talk to you about that. I'm Mark from the OA Lodge Advisor for Champlain. So I just want to make sure adventurers are covered. It's a new thing.
One activity I'd like to see put on the calendar is some kind of fun recruitment.
Okay.
To where the crews can invite people to something fun, where, hey, invite your friends, and maybe you try and recruit for your group.
Yeah.
We kind of just did something like that with our swim for minimum.
Okay.
So essentially, right now, main event's got a deal going through March. I don't know what the deal would be next month right now. For $7, it's unlimited bowling on the weekend, or unlimited pool, or unlimited laser. So we did bowling. So the whole crew, actually had a few friends show up who are now joining the crew.
Oh.
You're welcome.
But to do something cool like that on a VOA level and invite all the crews, and have everybody in all the crews bring their friends, and they can kind of mix and mingle. But to instead of them showing up and having 4 people from one crew and 5 from another, or just your 4 people, it's a bigger group so they can see more doing it. I mean, it doesn't have to be an event, it could be anything. It could be one of the trampoline places, could be an event, could be high fly. They're a little more expensive.
They do have specials for
So any of those are easy to throw together. A couple of hours of doing something you can normally get done for $10-15 a day.
Okay.
And we can throw that together and invite some people to have some fun. I know in our crew a couple of years ago we did a recruitment event, and we actually stole Lurch's crew from the Missouri was there years ago. She's 21 now. They did an ice cream social. The crew provided the ice cream, and everybody got time. We did that as a kickball thing. Anything you can do to have fun and make it interesting. But I'd love to see something from the VOA, whether it be the spring or the fall. Let's do something.
Do a big bonfire.
We could do May.
It's like May.
Oh, that would be fun.
Big bonfire, exactly. Right? And we can have people build skits from their crew to promote their crew.
That's a good idea. I like
Then we
that.
could also have the ice cream social there. That would be a way we can implement that, but we could also have a potluck with the crews that run around food supply.
You just want to make something fun as well, because you got to realize, hey, you want to go out to a fire and not just do skits? To people who aren't in scouts or to kids at school.
We could do like a barbecue with it too.
Exactly.
Kickball
Or if
games,
it
barbecues,
gets warmer, we
hockey
can have like
games.
water balloon fights or flashlight tags,
Just a
things like that,
party.
capture the flag.
Right, do something like that. I love it. That'd be fun.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Okay.
Alright, so,
I think that'd be, I don't know what it is.
I like the idea of like a bonfire with a whole bunch of games and barbecue, stuff like that.
What's that? Yeah,
You know what? Oh,
You
okay.
can
This guy's a
remember
location.
Gardner,
Michael, good, that's what we need.
Michael Murphy has 5 acres.
Spillway, it's always good for that too.
I don't think Bill really has a place where we can light a big old fire in his backyard.
You know, the spillway works for that, you can put a big old bonfire there and then you got all the flames and all that.
As long as we check with city regulations, you know.
Well, we're not gonna work this thing.
Well, I'm just saying we need to check that to make sure we don't.
Well, there's a big fire there,
Oh, cool.
the city does it.
Oh, cool.
We just have to reserve the jury.
Sweet.
Gardner does
Yeah,
that.
that's how they've got a
Do
big,
something out of Bull Creek.
they've got a big
Does the
bonfire,
Ruby
both
light the bonfire?
Yeah, that would work.
camping area.
Yes.
So, I think that would be great.
Yeah,
So essentially, if we do that, we need to pick a date.
yes.
And we possibly need to pick that date. By, we have to have the details kind of put together by next week.
Yeah.
So,
We could do it now, though. We could go ahead and pick a date now.
Don't put that
Would we want to do like maybe May or something?
we can do May, just remember that graduation is the
Oh,
weekend of
right.
the 15th.
Yeah.
And we missed like a bunch of schools, so.
The first weekend is,
Yeah.
First
So-
weekend.
the first weekend's the garage sale weekend.
Yeah.
And that's also the Area 5 event, that first weekend of May.
Okay, so that's.
Everything's in May.
May's always tough.
Yeah.
The 11th weekend. Does anybody have anything going on May 11th?
When's graduation?
We'll celebrate the mothers then.
On May 11th.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey, we can invite
Yes.
the group. That's something we can use to promote it.
We could do Friday or Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan, when's graduation?
Okay, night.
Okay. May
Two
11th.
senior?
I just got YouTube.
That's not good.
And the 18th
Supposed to
is
prep for it.
graduation.
No, I'm in the class, but they.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's nice too.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna do it over those weekends, I'd say either Mother's Day weekend or the 25th weekend,
Okay.
and just pick either Friday or Saturday night. You know, even if it's Mother's Day weekend, we're not missing Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So,
So
say that starts around 5:30.
we could do Friday night,
Friday night.
or Saturday night, might work better.
Saturday night, we might get more people.
Yeah. We'll pencil it in.
Okay, so what date will we pencil in?
May 11th.
No, yeah.
You want to pencil that in on the group chat first? And unfortunately, we are gonna need a new VP of Communications,
No.
because he is aging out,
Yep.
venturing here very quick.
Where else are we gonna find all the wires?
We don't have that many wires.
But I'm sure he'll be glad to come back and help train whoever replaces him.
Okay.
This might be a way I can get some people from my troop into the crew, or the venturing crew. I also need to start a crew that's not in Gladstone, Missouri.
It might be a good idea.
Yeah. Just gotta figure out what all I can do before I'm leaving.
I know, you're going away to college, he's going away,
Do as much I can before I leave.
he's getting too old.
I still have 2 years.
Thomas disappeared. Thomas, Allie, all of my crew disappeared like a dream.
Oh, they'll be.
Oh yeah, sometime in this month we're gonna have the Marchery crew event that we do every year. We don't know when that's gonna be yet.
We have, this Saturday, we have our annual ethical controversies.
So,
Yeah.
you're
Like,
gonna fill out all
if you wanna
the
get to your
requirements for summer.
discovery.
Yeah, we just do it every year, so we don't have to.
I'm doing
It's you should try it.
That would be a
You've
good,
got, you're gonna be in scouting anyways for a little bit longer.
I have like 6 months. I'm not even gonna be able to finish that next class.
It is 9 to noon
Vice
You're
on
20?
Saturday.
Huh?
You're 20?
No, I'm going.
Oh, yeah, it's
Hey,
they're trying to,
I have 6 months.
Or do you want to
Actually, less than
participate?
6 months.
We have to know, we have to, because we make
Maybe
teams.
participate in the market.
If he's not working, I'll probably.
Are you working Saturday? 9 to noon?
This Saturday?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But I might be going to mom's house.
I don't even know, dude.
You're my ride.
They said it is in 2 days.
Yeah.
All right, well, let you know.
It's a lot of fun. We argue, we debate.
I've done one or two.
We arguing?
So this Saturday?
Yeah.
You're speaking my language.
Edgerton, Scout Hall, City Hall.
Okay.
You be there?
Okay.
You'll be there?
It's not a requirement for me, but I'll go.
We have another.
I'm
Did you
like,
tell us any topics? We're gonna do,
That's awesome.
we have genetic editing and OK Google/Hey Siri. I hope people's phones start up when I do that, but they don't.
Hey Siri.
I'm a libertarian. I'm
So you're talking
against
about
anything
Skynet.
Alexis. My data mining is a big no-no for me.
Alright.
Google Search.
I told my
I was about
Alexa
to say, it wouldn't be really much of a debate if I showed up.
Must
Oh,
be
it will
wrong.
also have a woman,
Well, then
a
it's
lady
so
there to
easy.
talk about how her, she uses ethics in her job position, and she deals with pharmaceutical companies and stuff.
So everybody bring us back to your cruise. Kind of run up some
Just
support.
tight.
This is,
And then
it's
it
good
starts playing
stuff to,
Spotify.
like the one I did a couple of years ago at the University of Scouting was, you had a bunker with only so much room, and the world was about to end, and only so many people could be saved.
Oh.
And, you know, there was like 30 of us there, and we only had 5 spots. So you had to decide who was getting the 5 spots based on jobs and personalities.
You can pronounce it
Different
right.
things that we were doing. It was interesting. But they can be, they can definitely be interesting.
Yeah.
Me,
To
one
noon,
surgeon.
not, yeah, to noon.
It's 2 other people that
You
just
never know.
CPR the first day.
Oh shoot, what did I click on? It's fine. Alright, is there anything else?
The only other thing I'd ask is, have any crews done anything fun since our last meeting?
I don't even have meetings since the last.
Okay, well, let's start with
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Let's hear about it.
it was cold, but it was fun. I'm
What
pretty
do you
sure
guys
I'm the
do?
only person that enjoyed it, but it's fun.
So what is it?
We went up to Minnesota, basically Canada. We were like 5 miles from Canada, and we slept on a frozen lake. And it was all about like thriving in cold weather conditions, not like surviving in cold weather, but thriving in cold weather. It was a lot of fun. We built a quinzhee, which was a lot of work. And then like we had a kitchen wall with like counters in it where our interpreter would cook our stuff because he cooked everything. We built a fire mound, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. We got to ice fish. We didn't catch any.
Oh, I was about to ask that.
I was
We almost
gonna go
fell
do
in.
it, but then I got this thing called Vigil.
On what?
Vigil.
Oh, hush.
Wow, poor Dylan.
No, I signed up to go, and then I got my Vigil letter. And so I couldn't do that. I was sad.
What a burden.
I know. I was sad and excited.
So how many of your crew did the,
Oh wait, 3 of us, and 1 adult. So yeah.
That's awesome. So you guys know that you were some of the first venturers
my
in
aunt.
the country.
My aunt was the first on this side of the Mississippi.
No, well, I'm the
Yeah.
first one on
Yeah.
That is awesome.
No.
That's great.
But California, I think it was California and Florida, one of the two
This
did one
summer,
at the
they
same
took
time,
on
but
the
because
first
of the
female
time
savings
zone
body.
difference,
They're
they're
supposed to last
technically,
6
they did
sessions,
technically did it
but
before us. But
not to. I'm very upset by that.
Because you might go
Because
walk.
if you guys did it at 8 o'clock at night, it's only 6 o'clock there, so
Oh, I don't know.
you guys would have been pinned first.
I don't know which one it was, it was either Florida or
Florida would have been first.
Yeah, so,
Florida would have been. Okay, very, that's awesome.
yeah. And
All right, Patrick, is your crew done anything fun?
Yeah, what's the man, man?
that's fun.
I got a strike on my first bowl, you know, no biggie. No biggie.
Mine was, he had a training development crew off yonder.
I just showed everyone the laser tag, you know, no biggie.
We went to Snow Creek.
Oh yeah, I didn't tell you that.
Oh, you didn't know? Well, that'd be why you didn't know. Yeah, nobody got a concussion this year, so.
Yeah,
Well-
our trip did.
With you, who got
My friend Michael,
was gonna say, Jesse got
Sprained his knee,
and then Jesse got ran
so
over
he's
by
gonna
a
be
train.
braced for 6 months.
I don't have any, does anyone else have any?
Do any of the adults have anything that they'd like to know?
No, they're like 60, right?
6.
Boom.
All right.
I counted before you guys.
There's 7 adults and 6 youth.
I just like to know someone.
Yeah.
1, 2.
Wait,
Okay.
who is over 18 besides me and Kieran?
It'll probably
I'm
be
15.
over upstairs.
So if we count me and Kieran, that drops yours guys down to 4.
Do what?
What?
And then there was 4.
What?
Okay.
So people, legal adults here in this room
Well, you got something
does
to do. I
not.
don't know if you want to do that.
Oh, no,
Okay,
There's-
but
Mine
who
talking about getting
wise
drafted.
you're not
My
gonna-
concern
Right.
is
Yeah.
that nobody's really doing anything. What kind of
All right.
paperwork we need to file,
If
Of all the
there's-
things I decided, I
pre-approvals
don't
or-
know why I'm saying.
All right,
If I
if
do
there's
your
nothing
minor.
else, I'm gonna motion to adjourn.
I second.
A third. Or 4.
Meeting adjourned.
Sorry, that doesn't follow Robert's Rules of Orders. I'm gonna have to ask you to redo that motion.
Discussion.
Yeah, you didn't open the discussion.
88.